Welcome to Module 4. In this module, we will look at examples of the use of reliance. By the end of this module, you will be able to recognize how reliance can be used for the regulatory oversight of medical products. Regulatory reliance encompasses a broad array of regulatory approaches and practices that can involve two or more regulatory authorities. Reliance approaches are based on voluntary participation. Reliance can be limited to a discrete regulatory process or function, or include the full scope of regulatory functions over the entire life cycle of a medical product. Let's take a look at some examples. Work sharing in the assessment of clinical trials is being used in some regions such as in the European Union, EU and in the African continent through the African Vaccine Regulatory Forum, AVAREF. By assessing clinical trials together, NRAs, and in some cases ethics committees in different countries can benefit from the assessments performed by the various participating countries. This can help to facilitate and ensure the robustness of the clinical trials application assessment process across countries. A joint review benefits both sponsors and regulators. For the sponsor, the advantage is a joint evaluation by target countries and a consolidated list of questions to the sponsor, and it allows regulators to consolidate their assessment and ensure an exchange of knowledge. The AVAREF network, for example, uses joint reviews of clinical trial applications to connect regulators, ethics committees, and developers to expedite access to treatment and prevent major illnesses in Africa such as malaria, Ebola, tuberculosis, or COVID-19. AVAREF's joint review platform is a collaborative process involving multiple stakeholders. There are 3 core steps. 1. Experts from NRAs and ECs of 2 or more countries review a common clinical trial application. This process includes the sponsor, external experts, and other observers. 2. This process allows NRAs and ECs to collectively engage with the developer by discussing all aspects of the clinical trial applications. 3. Through collaboration, NRAs and ECs can validate findings with peers and external experts, improve the quality of the review, and optimize the timeline of the process. Reliance can support initial marketing authorization through the use of abridged regulatory pathways by the relying NRAs. 3 examples of abridged regulatory pathways in which reliance is used to facilitate the registration of medical products are EU M for All, or EU Medicines for All, also referred to as European Union Article 58, the Swiss Medic Marketing Authorization for Global Health Products Procedures, and the WHO Collaborative Procedure, or CRP, for Accelerated Registration. The EU M for All and the Swiss Medic Marketing Authorization for Global Health Products facilitate national registration. They provide an opportunity for experts from NRAs to observe and participate in assessment and scientific advice procedures from the European Medicines Agency and Swiss Medic. NRAs from target countries are invited to provide their comments and input on the evaluation. Their participation helps to build their capacity and establishes confidence in the processes. The WHO CRP facilitates the assessment and accelerates national registration of WHO pre-qualified medical products and medicines approved by a stringent regulatory authority. It provides unredacted reports on the assessment, inspection, and performance evaluation in the case of in vitro diagnostics to participating NRAs upon request. The procedures are detailed in WHO guidelines, which also include guidance on how NRAs can make the most efficient use of the reports in reaching their own decisions. Participating NRAs are expected to reach a decision on marketing authorization within 90 calendar days Regulatory time. The CRP has been successful in both accelerating decisions in countries and building the capacity of regulatory authorities. The WHO Certificate of a Pharmaceutical Product, or CPP, is also used as a reliance tool in lieu of full or partial assessment for marketing authorization. These certificates are being used to facilitate and accelerate authorization of pharmaceutical products in many countries. The WHO National Control Laboratory Network for Biologicals, or WHO-NNB, was launched in 2017. It is intended to facilitate access to and the availability of pre-qualified vaccines and other biotherapeutic products through reliance on batch releases by NRAs and national control laboratories that are members of WHO-NNB. Reliance by other NRAs on batch release certificates from a national control laboratory in the country of manufacture can help to reduce redundant testing, encourage more cost-effective testing and encourage more effective regulatory oversight. Governments and NRAs in various regions have made mutual recognition agreements so that they can rely on each other's inspections of good practices. For example, good manufacturing practices, good clinical practices, and so on, avoiding duplication of work and making the best use of resources. For example, the Pharmaceutical Inspection Convention and Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperative Scheme, or PICS, is a non-binding, informal cooperative arrangement among regulatory authorities in the field of good manufacturing and good distribution practices of medicinal products for human or veterinary use, and also more recently in good clinical and good vigilance practices. The aim of PICS is to facilitate cooperation and networking among competent authorities and regional and international organisations to increase mutual confidence in inspections. PICS has issued guidance on inspection reliance, outlining a process for desktop assessment of compliance with good manufacturing practices. Reliance is prevalent in the regulation of medical devices, including in vitro diagnostics. For example, the Medical Device Single Audit Programme, or MDSAP, was developed with the support of the International Medical Device Regulators Forum, or IMDRF. Under the MDSAP, the regulatory authorities of Australia, Brazil, Canada, Japan, and the USA have pooled their resources into a robust system of oversight by third-party auditing organisations. The third-party auditing organisations audit the quality management systems of medical device manufacturers. MDSAP permits an auditing organisation to conduct a single regulatory audit that satisfies the requirements of the regulatory authorities that participate in the programme. The pooled resources are used to establish and maintain oversight of auditing organisations, resulting in more effective use of limited regulatory resources. The IMDRF has also issued guidance for exchanges of information on the safety of medical devices among participating NRAs. The system reports incidents that represent a serious threat to public health beyond national borders. The IMDRF provides consistent terminology for reporting and coding adverse events for categorized reporting. You have now completed Module 4. In the next module, we will look at potential barriers and enablers of reliance.